Hi and welcome back to Ladies Talk. Now before we speak to Reginald Larry Cole, we're going to be finding out what Jackie Joseph has got for us in our Ladies Top Tips, and I hope you're taking notes.
Homemade Made Easy is all about thinking outside the box, and in this music-filled episode I'm going to show you a quick and clever way that you can create storage bowls for your fruits, for your vegetables, for your party snacks, your sweets, your keys, your coins, and bookends for your books and of course for your CDs. And this is how it's done. So this is what you'll need. Vinyl records, 12-inch or 7-inch, it's up to you. A bowl for shaping, make sure the bowl is heat resistant. A wooden spatula or spoon, just so you can maneuver the vinyl when it gets soft. Heavy duty rubber gloves, and of course boiling water. So get your record and pop it into the boiling water and leave it just to soak in all of that heat. And this is where you'll need your wooden spatula or spoon. After about a minute or two, you'll start to see the record warp. It will start to melt in that boiling water, and you'll use your wooden spatula just to ease it and tease it. You can see it's already bending there. So give it 1 or 2 minutes in that water, and then you can start to maneuver it. What I'm going to do in this instance is use our bowl. The bowl I'm going to use, so literally just pull it up, pull it around as much as you can. Remember, it's a heat resistant bowl, and once you've done that, lift it out so you've got the basic shape, and then work it around. Remember, each piece is going to be totally unique. Look at that one. That is lovely with that fold there. It's just a different shape of bowl. If I want to, I can pop that back into the water and take out those folds. I'm going to show you that. And then I'll just ease it out a little bit. And that for me is the perfect bowl. And for your bookends, all you'll do is you'll hold the record in the water, keep half of it out, half of it immersed into the boiling water. Hold one side, so that of course this is going to be your back end. The other side that's immersed will be the flat end. Hold it in place again for a minute or two. Use your wooden spatula just to make sure that that edge is clean. Lift it out, give it a little squeeze, flatten it, and there you have your vinyl bookend.
Wow,
that's very good. All I keep thinking through that is, what tune is that? Yeah. What tune is it? Because I love my music. I'm thinking, why don't we put it
I know, because I thought, you know, especially because vinyl should be coming back. I would like vinyl to come back.
Yeah, but if it does come back, what you do is go back to the fruit bowl, break it open, and try and mix it.
Hot water again.
And tease it out. Amazing though that you could just. I would have never have thought to take my records, and there are a lot of records that we got at home that didn't quite do well. That you just think, oh, why? Brilliant, Jackie. Thank you very much, Jackie.
Yeah, great.
I love it.
Brilliant tip, brilliant tip. I'd like to welcome my next guest. His name is Reginald Larry Cole. Now, we often hear about stories of people going down, but we don't always hear about how they got back up. And this man is going to tell us how we did that. We also will be speaking about young children. Now, how do you tell your children, no, you don't wear that, you can't wear that? Who is the driving seat in your home? But before we do that, let's welcome to our show, Ladies Talk, the one and only Reginald Larry Cole.
Very much, guys.
Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for inviting me.
Are you well?
I'm fantastic and getting better.
Let's write that line down. Fantastic
and getting better. That's it.
Add to list.
Well, I haven't met you. I've spoken to you years ago. It's so weird that we've got the Choice FM ladies back there. But you called the radio show years ago and told us about your company and that. But let's find out a little bit about yourself and how you started and where you are now.
Okay. You know, back then when I called you, I owned a company called Credit Lab, and it was just a company that financed cars for people. We gave them exactly what they wanted, treated them as good customers, and we became the fastest growing company of its type in the 4 years that I had the company. I started the company as a one-man band. with £23,000 of my savings and built it to a multi-million-pound venture while still at university. But then the credit crunch came.
So what happens when you're at that point where everything's going right, you've got this multi-million business, and then the credit crunch, how does it crumble everything? Why does everything always go completely pear-shaped?
Okay, well, because my business was finance-based, it simply meant that we relied on the banks to finance our customers.
Right.
So April 15th, 2008 was a lovely day. I just dropped off my daughter at St. George's, picked her up, successful surgery, and got a phone call about 5:30 that evening from one of the biggest companies that I dealt with that produced 98% of my income, and they said, game over, we can't loan your customers any more money. So you went from a £400,000 a month revenue to zero. I had to hide my emotions from the rest of the staff because we were in the back kitchen in my office in Streatham celebrating the fact that my 1-year-old daughter had a successful surgery.
Wow.
And I thought, well, all of a sudden the wine and the Nando's went out the window as far as I was concerned, but I let them enjoy the evening and then went home and tried to figure out how we can get out of this.
How did you break it to them then, eventually?
The next day I told them, so I came into work and called a meeting. I said, guys, everything is on the line. I'm going to do everything that I can to keep you guys employed and to keep the business going. Which is what I did foolishly, because I blew all my money trying to save the business, basically.
So when you reach that dark place and you have to turn it around, and you know that point where it feels like it can't come back, I don't know how to come back, feeling suicidal, family breakdown, really at that rock bottom place, how do you then pull it together and say, you know what, there's light?
You see, I'd been there before. It was like a movie that I'd seen because my dad went through the same thing.
Wow.
But unfortunately, my dad wasn't strong enough, and he, is now, may his soul rest in peace. I'm sure he wouldn't mind me saying he wasn't strong enough to recover, especially when our mum left, which was identical situation to mine. So I thought, if I'm going to do anything, I'm going to do it for Dad. I've got to recover for my dad because we both can't go the same way. So and then you have mile markers, people like Obama, who I'd been following since 2004, long before the world heard of who Barack Obama was. I had interest and I'd read his books, and I knew he was the most dysfunctional person that I know in power, in authority. And here he was running for the biggest prize of them all, the White House. So I thought, well, if he can do it.
And did your faith also play a part in that at all for you? Because I know that's probably at these times or those times in people's lives where faith or a belief in God or whether they choose another, whether it be Buddhism or something to help them. But for you, was your faith in God? Was that, am I right with
Well,
that?
you know what? Like I say, the order of events was my dad, then Obama, then my kids, in that order. And I saw an advert for a church in Tooting, NTA, celebrating Obama's inauguration. And I thought, well, I'll go to this church, turn up. And it was a turning point. It was a good family church, and I started going back to where I was supposed to be spiritually. And I thought, well, if I put my life to waste, what good is that? What I become is my gift to God, and life is His gift to me. So I must.
It's really great. I mean, I think it's really powerful. But I'd love you to stay on for our next topic that we're going to discuss. But just tell us a little bit about your company and your website, that we will give more information. What it is you actually do.
We've got an investment arm called buytoletcars.com, and what that simply means is people with money who are not earning above inflation, beating rates at the moment with 2% at the bank. Then you pay 40-45% tax on that. You're wasting your money. And what they do is they invest into our company a particular sum of money that turns into a car, and then you have your nurses or Royal Mail managers and people like this who are also suffering at the point of sale because of lack of liquidity at the banks. We give them a car and we make the two things happen, and we manage the whole process.
Well, thank you very much for that, and stay with us in that, because I need a lift home.
I need a car.
Absolutely.
I can help you.
But let's move on and talk, because you talk about family. Let's talk about children and raising our children now. We were speaking earlier about the Trayvon Martin, but we're going to talk about that later on the show from Romel London. But it would be interesting to find out today's image of young people and raising children, very difficult, and a lot of images out there of sexually, explicit dress wear for young girls in particular, and the way we are trying to raise our children. How, we were just talking about your children come down in a pair of shorts and you think, where are you going in that? And they're like 6. and they say to you, well, you know what, Mum, everyone's wearing it. How do you deal with that? How, you know, because you're a mother, aren't
yes,
you?
I'm very much so, something that's dear to my heart, this topic. I'm fortunate that my daughter Olivia has probably a bit of a tomboy streak to her. I was a bit like a tomboy, so she enjoys probably the sporty wear, and thankfully the stylish wear and the fashionable tracksuits and trainers lends itself to that. But I have got family members who've got their girls who want to wear the shorts very short, who want to have their midriff showing. The girls and their friends and their friendship groups are saying, well, this is what we all do. This is how we all dress. And they see the Beyoncés or they see the Rihannas. And unfortunately, even if they say they're not trying to portray that image, that's exactly what they do.
I will say that this is nothing new, because if I'm the youngest of 6 children. My sister's in her 40s now, but when she was younger, she used to dress like how Whitney Houston used to dress, in a tight miniskirt and some sort of little crop top jacket, big hair.
How will I know?
In the 90s, you know, I did the whole A-line skirt thing, which was quite short, but I had some like Batty Rider type shorts underneath it, and the jumper. What was that? Did she say that word? She said short. Come on, girls, come on. But my point is, I think the difference now is what's the mentality behind what you're wearing. Because I think, you know, my mum would maybe see me wearing what I'm wearing and do like I call it the Ghana face and go, like, if that's what you want to do, that's your business. But she knew that I wasn't going out in a short skirt to try and look for boys. You know, it was just how it was. I think the problem now is that you're right. A lot of young girls are dressing in a way in which maybe Rihanna, Beyonce, Nicki Minaj, or whatever is dressing. But what's coming with that is a certain attitude, which is, you know, I don't care. I'm a rude girl. I've got no morals. I'll stick my legs out and you know, gyrate wherever I want. And that to me is where the danger is, because self-expression and dressing up is what it is. That's fashion, and that's what happens.
You've got a daughter already.
Yeah, I've got a
How
daughter,
would you do with this?
she's 6. What I do with my children, quite specifically on all a broad range of issues, is I constantly try to build a picture of how they want their lives to be. 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, habit number 2, you begin with the end in mind. It's something I do in business as well as personal. And I talk to my daughter, how do you want to live your life? How do you want to be seen? Even when she's 6, I kneel down and talk to my kids. Look them in the eye.
It's been a privilege having you on the show.
Oh, it's been fantastic.
Thank you very much. When we come back, we're going to be talking to our ladies to find out exactly how their parents show them love. And also Ramel London on the streets of London when we come back.
When ladies talk.